So let's talk passive income streams today. This is something that I always want you to be thinking about. How could I create more passive income in my business and in my life? Because if you're not creating passive income, what happens? You end up working basically until you're dead. I don't know about you, but I'm like, I want to be able to have a great business and a great life. You don't have to choose. Like, I remember the first time I made passive income, it was from a course that I created, and I'll talk about different income streams and all that. But I went on a cruise with my family. And so on a cruise, there was no internet or anything. And I came back, turned my phone on, and I was like, oh, someone bought my thing while I was on the cruise. And it was just like mind blown of I wasn't working in that moment, but I was still able to help people and make sales. And so we have now worked with thousands of students over the years. And I've personally spoken with hundreds of them over the years too. And a lot of times they come to me saying, I want to build my business, but I only want to do it through products or selling t-shirts or this stream. And typically I tell them, because I'm going to keep it real, of that's a great idea and you're not going to be profitable, or you're going to have a ton of inventory, or you're going to be banging your head against the wall. So there are a lot of different income streams that you can have in your business. That doesn't mean that you should have all of them. And so, I've had so many different income streams in our business. I have sold physical products. We have had a t-shirt line in the past, and all of those things. Tell me in the chat as we're having this conversation, how are you currently monetizing your business? Because this would actually be a great way for me to just coach you and give you some coaching while we're here together. So how are you currently monetizing in your business? And one of my zones of geniuses is just figuring out, how could I earn more money and still work less? So how could we earn more, impact more without it necessarily taking up more of my time? Okay. And it's okay to have one-on-one. So Tammy's doing one-on-one. It's okay to have one-on-one. I still have private clients because I love helping people in that capacity. However, I know that my time is limited in that. And so I look at how I structure how I work with private clients, so it's not overwhelming and it's still something that I get to enjoy without it feeling heavy. Does your work ever feel heavy where you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I have so many things that need to happen. And it just feels kind of overwhelming, right? Okay, let's look at what Britain's doing. Free challenge, $27 Excel organizer, productivity online course, accountability group membership for entrepreneurs. Britain, I love that. I love what you're doing. I think that's a great product suite that you have going on. And then I would look at, could you create something that's like ultra high ticket? Of maybe it's like a really high scale like retreat or something like that, or even private. But I think that is awesome. All right, Derica, service-based time for money. Michelle's physical products, affiliate links. Okay. Okay. So let's look at, how can you get out of trading time for money? So done for you is a model that you could do. So we work with our students inside of Activate, and I was actually talking with Tara about this, of like, we teach them how to create an online course, but we also teach them a bunch of different ways. So like some of our students have come out of Activate and they now have like an agency model where they're doing bookkeeping for people, and they've created this like 6-figure bookkeeping model, but she's doing this working 10 hours a week. And she has the team and the structure in place where she can do that. Some of our students come in and they're creating, an online course where they're able to sell that, or they're creating a group coaching model. Okay. So I want you to think, how can you package your service in a way where it doesn't necessarily require a ton of your time and effort? So I want you to be thinking, how are you helping people currently? How are you helping people currently? Is there a way that you could package this? So I've learned, who here knows Russell Brunson? Yes. Okay. He is awesome. So Russell Brunson talks a lot about how you can sell essentially the same framework, but maybe it's coming in a different package. So for example, I bought his book, the physical hard copy book. It's in my closet behind me, but I also bought the audiobook style because I might want to learn in different modalities. But he might have an online course or an online training where he teaches the same concepts that are in the book, but maybe it's more in depth in the course than it is in the book. But then he doesn't, but he could offer like a private coaching model where he takes what's in the book, but then he teaches it for people that want to go faster and they want to work with the expert. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's basically the same framework, the same idea, but you're just packaging it in a different way. And some people are going to want to work with you one-to-one. Some people are going to want to work with you in a group setting. Some people are going to be like, all right, I can just go through the course and I'm set. Yes. I love Tara's taking notes. I love it. So take notes. I want you just to write down and ask yourself, how could I package this offer in a way that doesn't take as much of my personal time and attention? And then write this down and you can just brainstorm on this. How can you leverage your time? How can you leverage your time? So I'll give you the example of Activate, our program, and then my private coaching model, how I kind of shifted both of those things to give me more freedom. So when I first started doing private coaching, I had just modeled it off of the coach that I had. And I was like, I don't know. So it was a call a week for an hour plus Voxer access. What happened once I had 7 or more private clients and I had a call per week with those people? Do you know how overwhelming that was, especially if I wanted to take a week to go on vacation? Holy moly. It was like one day it was back to back to back to back to back clients. So I had no time to pee, like nothing. It was like, this is all I have to do. There's no time to actually think about how can you grow the business because you're just stuck in the private model. I still wanted to help people in a private coaching capacity because I love that. Like I love working with people one-on-one and being able to help and grow. But I realized my Vera desk, I'm like, boom. Doing a call per week is not sustainable for the lifestyle that I want to live. And it's not necessarily serving my clients either. They don't need to see me every single week. And so I asked myself, how can I structure this differently so it's not taking so much of my time? So I'm like, okay, what if we only did 1 call a month? And so like we can kick off our time. So what I do now, I kick off our time working together with a 2-hour half VIP day. So it's like we create an entire game plan for the next 12 months. So we sit down, we create a strategy. In 2 hours, they're like blown away. They're like, holy crap, I have an entire game plan for the year. And I'm like, okay, then what if we just do a jam session every month where we meet for a half an hour, we make sure we're on track. And then in between that time, we talk on Voxer. So if you don't use Voxer, this is like my favorite thing ever. I use this with my clients and with our team. And it's basically like a walkie-talkie app. And so instead of me having to carve out time on my calendar, we're able to Vox each other audio messages throughout the week, throughout the month. And so they're able to send me stuff on, like they're sending me their opt-in pages, their sales pages, they're sending me questions that they have throughout the month so that we don't necessarily have to have a set time on the calendar where we have to sit down every single week, but they're still getting the coaching, they're still getting the support that they need. Does that make sense of how I restructured that offer where they're still getting the support, but it's not necessarily so much time on my calendar? I protect my calendar at all costs. I am very I'm like, okay, does this, because my work hours are from 10 to 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I'm like, I got to protect this time. This time is sacred. I don't want to put so much here because that includes like me being creative and figure everything out and working with clients or coaching our Activate students or doing podcast interviews. That all has to fit in that chunk of time. So I want you to look at what offers you have. Could you restructure it so it doesn't take up as much of your time? Make sense? Got it? Okay. So leveraging your time, restructuring it. My top 3 favorite income streams, because I've been doing online marketing for like 12 years now. So I've pretty much done and seen it all. My top 3 favorites, online courses. Why do I love online courses? Tell me why you think I love online courses in the chat. It's easy. Do it once and you're done. That's not totally true because like I've gone back to Pin with Purpose and I keep going back to like make it better because I'm kind of obsessed and like, how can I always make it better? So kind of true, just depends on the personality because I take messy action and I'm like, all right, go back and make it better. More time for yourself. You help a lot of people at once. Yeah. So imagine, do I have the time and capacity? We've helped over 7,000 students with our online courses. Could I have done that if it were just me doing private coaching? Could I have helped that many people at that capacity? No way. There is no way. There's absolutely no way. So I want you to think, yeah, you have more time for yourself. You can sell it on autopilot. Yes. Bethany, my favorite word, autopilot. How can you set it and forget it? I sold my keto ebook yesterday from my fitness blog that I haven't touched in over 5 years. So it's like, how could you create something that you can sell it years later? Yeah. They sell while you're asleep. The customers and students can watch on their own time. Yes. Give the information they need easily. Yes. Flexible. Yes. Does anyone here already have an online course, or you're like, I have a course in me that's not yet created? Let me see in the chat. You have one. I have several. If you already have one, are they selling? I have one in me, working on it now. It's in me. I have one, but it's not selling. If you need a plan to get one created and sell it, Tara, will you put the link in the chat, helpmecoachnow.com? Let's just help you create a plan to monetize and actually sell it. So go book a call, helpmecoachnow.com. Let us help you. So online courses, you told me in the chat why you like them. It's DIY. You set it and forget it. They can sell years later. Yeah. You have a course inside of you. You have something that you can teach other people. So the course is basically like, what would I teach someone privately, right? Could I take that information and condense it and package it into a course? So online course, love it. I think everyone should have an online course as part of their monetization strategy. Now, that's not the only thing that we do, because I'm always thinking, how could we have multiple income streams, right? So we have the course. We do done for you Pinterest management. So we have a Pinterest course. We have done for you Pinterest management. Do you think I manage people's Pinterest accounts personally? Maybe, yes, no, hands, not anymore. No, that would be like me poking out my eyeballs, honestly. Like I would, that to me just sounds like torture if I had to go in and do that. So what do? We create a system around it. We create everything that you do in your business. You need to create a system around it so you can duplicate yourself. Got it? So one of our students, Katie, she was doing in her business. She was like, I don't want to let go of control of this. Like, I can do it. I don't know if somebody else can do it. And I went to Global Leadership Summit a few years ago. Does anyone know Craig Groeschel? Yes. Okay. So I remember this vividly because I wrote it down and this has been like in my brain ever since. He said, you can either have growth or you can have control, but you cannot have both. And so whatever it is that you're doing in your business, could you hand it off to somebody else? Even if they do it 80% as good as you, can they do it? Because you can either have growth or you can have control. So you got to be able to let go of that control so you can experience that growth. So once she decided to let other people help manage the books, what happened? Boom, her business exploded. She's making way more now, working 10 hours a week, putting her kids first. Got it? So her model, she has online courses that she sells, but she does done for you bookkeeping, but it's not her doing it. She taught somebody else how to do it. Got it? Okay. Another income stream that I like is a group coaching program. Let me give you an example. So Grace came to us. She was one of our Activate students. Now she's an Activate coach. So she actually did furniture refinishing. So how do you make furniture refinishing passive? That's like the thing that she came to me for. I was like, okay, let's put our heads together. Let's make this happen. So what she now does, she has a course where she's teaching how to become profitable at furniture refinishing. So how to actually take someone's trash repurpose it, flip it, and make money. And that's like a side hustle. So she created an online course around that. But she also has a group coaching program around that where she's teaching people how to do furniture refinishing as a side hustle. So she used to be in this business where she was doing the furniture refinishing. She was making money off of it, but it's like she has these huge pieces of furniture and she's in the, like her husband's in the military. So they're moving all the time. And she's like, I can't keep doing this, you know? So we're like, okay, how can we take this model that you're doing, but make it more passive? Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So it's just a matter of you need to have somebody around you, a coach or something like that, that can help you think outside the box. Okay. You got to be able to think outside the box. So group coaching program, Activate. It used to be just me that was leading that program. And as I'm thinking about, I want you just to like think about what's the kind of life that you want to live? How much time do you want to be working? How much time do you want to spend with your family? So as you're thinking about all those things, and I thought about Activate and the way it was structured, I was like, I want to be able to help my students at a higher level without it necessarily depending 100% on me. Okay. So that's when we started hiring a head coach plus other coaches in the program, because I know that our students get the best results when they get coaching in small groups, but it can't be just me. Okay. So our students, they're in small groups now, like groups of 4 to 6, where they're meeting with their coach twice per month. I can't physically do that with all the students that we have, right? So we have to think about how can we hire people in that program. So actually all of our coaches have been Activate students. So I want you to think, how could you leverage your time so it's other people helping? Okay. And then I thought, how else can we help these people? So we brought in a WordPress expert, an SEO expert, a copywriting expert, a tech expert. So I want you to be thinking about what's your expertise. And then are there other people that you could bring in that would create a more well-rounded program? Make sense? And that way you go from one to one to one to many. Now, do you have to have all those things in place right away? No. When I launched Activate, it was me. But then I created the vision of what do I want to create for the next round, the next time we launch it. And then it became bigger and bigger, and we kept making it better. So every time you launch a program, you can make it a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. So I want you to think, who can you bring onto your team to help you grow? So for this program, for instance, I was like, we need a head coach that can manage everything. For Pin with Purpose, I thought, how can we grow this program, this course, and give our students really good results? And so we hired a trainer for a DIY course, which is pretty much unheard of, but it's also, it was on my heart to get our students really, really good results. Could we sell that program without having them having a trainer and the extra coach? Yeah, we could have, but would we help our students get the best results possible? No. And ultimately, like, you want to help people get results. So we brought in a trainer for that program. So I want you to be thinking about, where do you want to grow? Where is your biggest opportunity to grow? Is it creating a course? Is it creating a group coaching program? Is it restructuring an offer? Tell me in the chat. Where do you see as your biggest opportunity for growth? Could it be adding affiliate sales? Adding an affiliate stream? And so, you know, when you have an email list, you then are able to bring in other offers like affiliates. And that's when you're able to really multiply your income, because then it's not just your offer, it's other people's offers too. Make sense? So you want to make sure you have an email list that you're nurturing. These are some of the things we teach inside of Activate. You have to have an email list that you're nurturing, that then if you have an affiliate offer, you launch an online course, these people, they know who you are, they trust you. And then it's like, oh, it's a no-brainer to do this thing that they recommended for me. Online course, group course, an additional one-on-one. Yes. A course to run on autopilot, restructuring offer. Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm always thinking, how could I make this offer a little bit more passive, or how could I make this part of my business more passive? So, I mean, if you're having any offer that you have, how do you lead people to that offer? So you're not like constantly searching people out. So that's another thing I want you to be thinking about. How could you lead people to that offer? So one of the things you could do is an email nurture sequence. having an email nurture sequence in place where maybe you have emails that mention the affiliate things that you're a part of, or you're sending people to an evergreen webinar, or you're set like in that email nurture sequence. This is something that's evergreen that anyone that signs up for your freebie, for your webinar, whatever it is, they're automatically getting a series of emails. How many emails? However many you want to put in there. There's no limit. You could have like 20 emails in your email nurture sequence, and every email could be leading to a different call to action, a different offer. So imagine every single new person that joins your email list, they're seeing every offer that you have, every affiliate that you have. And that's just happening passively on autopilot. Does that make sense? Cool. I want to take time to answer any questions that you have about this. So jump in. You can just raise your hand. Raise your hand. And don't be shy. There's no such thing as a stupid question.
Rachel, I know I saw a question earlier about who do you get to edit like your videos after you've made them?
So yeah, you don't want to be the video editor. I want you like all the tedious little things that anyone can do. So Lizzie edits all of our videos. She's a social media manager on our team. So I don't even know if she knew how to edit stuff with iMovie when she joined our team, but she learned and now she edits everything. I'm speaking at Marketing Impact Academy over the weekend in California. She's editing our slide deck to make sure it looks on point, perfect. So these are things I'm not doing. You want to get someone on your team that can do it. Thank you, Tara. All right, Britton.
Hi, I'm trying to put together my new offer. So the funnel that I put together are new offerings. But I'm struggling to grow my email list.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any quick tips?
Yeah. So inside of Activate, the first 3 months, we have them do a list build. So our goal for the first 3 months is for them to build a list of at least 500 to 1,000 people. So we have them host a collaborative event where they're the expert. They're bringing in other experts to help them grow their email list quickly. We've had some of our students do over 1,000 in 60 days. Yeah. So leveraging other people's audiences. Great way to get started when you don't want to spend money on ads.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Other questions, raise your hand.
Hi. So I've never done Voxer before.
Yeah.
I know you say if you do Voxer, you need to set your hours like Monday through
Yes.
Friday, 9 to 4.
Yes.
Can you talk more about that?
Just like setting boundaries with clients?
No, just like when you offer it and like how long do you think is to offer it? You know, like a week, 6 weeks?
Depends on like if it's a bonus for a program. So I've offered like a week of Voxer coaching with me as a bonus. I offer it to my private clients. I have a VIP level inside of Activate where people get Activate and VIP Voxer coaching with me. So it's up to you on like how long you want that duration to be. It depends on if it's a bonus, if it's a part of a program, that kind of thing. And then set your parameters with them I tell my clients straight up, like I work 9 to 3 Eastern Standard Time. You can Vox me outside of those hours. That's fine, but just don't expect a response outside of those hours. Sometimes I do because I'm like, oh, I saw it and I'm here, but I want them to know family's really important and I'm training them on how to treat me, but also how they can run their own business and create those boundaries for themselves.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, how many emails do you send weekly? Minimum once per week, minimum. That is my base of I've never missed a week of sending an email to our list in 5 years. So I have a minimum requirement, and that's just a part of consistency of letting my people know that they can trust me to show up. That's really important. Like, even though I've had babies, I've moved overseas, I've been sick, all the things have happened in those 5 years. My audience has still received an email a week, regardless of what's happening. But that usually means I'm not writing an email, sending it out that day. That usually means I'm planning it out a week or two in advance. So that way I'm not scrambling at the last minute. I usually send 2 to 3 emails a week. But the minimum requirement for myself is once a week. what software, where do you suggest to put online course software? Eileen, we use Kajabi. However, ClickFunnels 2.0 has just launched, so we might be looking at switching stuff over to there. I haven't really explored the capabilities of that, but I like the idea of being able to have everything all in one. But for years, we've had everything in Kajabi. So I just posted it in the chat, rachelandgom.com/work- oh, Tara, you're on it. Oh my gosh, you're too quick. I love it. Yeah, so you'll see everything there. Nancy, what about Thinkific? Yeah, so when I first launched Pin with Purpose, here's my mindset. I was spending $2,000 a month to have a coach help me create this business, but I didn't want to spend $97 a month on Kajabi, so I used the free version of Thinkific. Why did I do that? Because coaching is important. Because no one would have bought the courses or anything that I offered if I didn't have a coach show me how to do the messaging and like all those things that I learned from coaching. As soon as the course was profitable, then I was like, okay, now we can invest in Kajabi. But I was investing in the coach before I paid for Kajabi. Make sense? Yeah, so you can definitely use the free version of Thinkific to start with. And then as we had more students join the program, I was like, this needs to be a little bit more legit with like a login and all this stuff. So that's why we moved everything over. Michelle, when you launch a course, is the timing, time of year, monthly launch an important thing to consider? Yeah, it is. Like I wouldn't launch something over Thanksgiving week or over Christmas. Like you want to look at holidays and kind of what's happening around that time of year. So you want to avoid any major holidays just because people are going to be kind of preoccupied and focused with that. So I definitely would be thinking about any major holidays. I'm trying to think of anything else that would, like any specific month I would avoid. Not really. A month I would avoid is a month that I decide to take off for holiday. So it's like I strategically look at my calendar and I'm like, when do I want to be taking off? When do I want to be launching? So I already know, like going into January, what does my January look like? I know when I'm going to be taking off. I know when I'm going to be doing, we have a new program that we're going to launch. So I know those things are on my calendar. So I just want you to be thinking of when are you going to be taking off? When are you going to be launching? And plan taking time off around like holidays and that kind of thing, and launching around non-holiday time, so you have the best response possible as you can from your audience. Very good question. Other questions? These are great. Let's go.
Course pricing. It's a 1-hour course on productivity. It goes through how to assess your values, look at your week, and craft like your ideal week, specifically for entrepreneurs. Trying to manage both life and business. It's a 1-hour course, so I've gotten a lot of differing opinions on pricing. I originally priced it like, I've heard everything from $497 to like $97. So if you have any thoughts.
The timing does not matter for pricing. Because I know, like, I see this all the time when people market it of like, it's 58 hours of course content and all this crap. And I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want to have to go through 58 hours of work to get to the meat of what it is. And so people like my courses, because I'm like straight to the point, let's go, let's get her done. And then I provide like the checklists and all that stuff. So let me put it this way. Let's say I invest $100,000 to be a part of a mastermind this year, and I have one really specific strategy that when I give to you this one strategy, I can tell it to you in 5 minutes. But by giving you this one strategy, you're going to be able to add an extra $50,000 to your business this year. What do you think you would pay for that one strategy?
A lot.
So does it matter how long it takes for me to get it to you?
Right. That's what I'm getting.
No, it doesn't matter at all. So it's just a matter of the transformation. You have to be able to paint the picture of where your person is now, where are they ultimately going to be by going through this thing.
And I have good testimonials that people say change their life, but
yeah,
not very many. I only have like 3.
Yeah. So you got great testimonials. That's awesome.
So
does that help?
Yeah, it does.
And you can always raise the price point. And so you can let people know, like, hey, it's $4.97 right now, but the next time I launch it, it's going to be $9.97. And that'll give some level of scarcity of why people need to take action now.
I like it.
Yeah. Yep. No problem. Somebody else had their, Michelle. I was like, who else did I see?
Okay, I had a question follow up with what I asked in the chat.
Yep.
So my avatar, I guess you would say, is homeschool moms, specifically moms of teens. So I really would like to launch this restructure of the do-it-yourself and then a coaching option. I've already been thinking of that, so that makes me feel better that that's what you say is a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And I would love to get some income before the end of the year, but we're getting towards the holidays. And once we get to November and December, I know the moms are just like, all I can think of is getting to the end of the year, and the holidays. So I'm wondering if I should
Not
just
necessarily.
wait.
No, not necessarily. A lot of times that's a limiting belief on your part and then what you project upon them. So like if you, right now, the US is going through a recession. So if you tell yourself over and over again, we're in a recession, nobody's going to buy this. We're in a recession, nobody's going to buy this. What do you think is going to happen?
I won't try to sell it.
You won't try to sell it because you believe nobody's going to buy it. Therefore, nobody's going to buy it. But if you lead with, hey, because the US is going into a recession, this is the ultimate #1 skill that you need to have. And you need to do this now. You can't wait until 6 months from now, until things are getting worse. You need to get this skill now. You lead it in that manner where there's a sense of urgency and a belief, a core belief on your part that your people are ready and they need to take action. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, no, I think totally the way that you present it is a good way. I'm just one. And so I guess my question is, do I launch this in the next week or two, which doesn't give me lots of pre-thought, and pre-emails and getting them warmed up and all that kind of stuff, and maybe get a few, but then January, do it. And it's a new year. Everybody's ready for new stuff. You know what I mean? January is a great time to sell. And
you can still sell in the fall. And you can still sell in the fall. So why don't you do both? Why don't you create like a tiny little couple week long runway for that launch where you're like building anticipation and buzz around this topic? You do a launch for it and then you do it again in January where you have some good testimonials under your belt and then you can really crush it.
So next question is, do you do these do it yourself and the coaching options? Are they evergreen where it's always available, or do you do them a couple times a year, where I've heard is a good thing to do because then it builds scarcity, so more people are going to do it?
So if you have it always available, you can. However, no one's going to buy it if it's always available. So like you can buy Pin with Purpose on our website. However, we do a webinar where we have different bonuses and different structures within that where there's a level of scarcity where people need to take action in that moment. We have sold 100,000 times more from the webinar than from our actual website.
So you're saying maybe have it always available, but then have a couple times a year where you offer more if they buy it at that time.
Yeah, or maybe it's like a discounted price point. So like you can buy it on my website. It's $9.97 right now. You can get it for $4.97 plus this bonus plus this bonus.
Okay.
You got to give people a reason to move their tushies. Otherwise, they're going to stay exactly where they are.
Right. That's why I thought, well, is evergreen a good idea?
It is if you are able to incorporate urgency and scarcity within the evergreen model.
Okay.
Got it?
All right. That helps. Thanks.
Yeah. Yep. No problem. Ooh, Anne Marie, I love this question. Who has been your most influential coach and why? So like coach that I've worked with one-on-one, because I've had like coaches from afar, like Tony Robbins, Chalene Johnson. Yeah, Anne Marie, you just unmuted, so talk.
One-on-one.
One-on-one. Okay. So Stacy Toshel was my very first one-on-one coach, and that was transformative for me, just because I've never had a coach before, and me and her worked so well together. Of like, she told me what to do. I'm an action taker, so it was like, boom, let's go. So I grew tremendously in the first year of working with Stacy. I then worked with Shanda Sumter, and she helped me really focus on leadership of how am I showing up and actually leading my people. So I'd say like those are the two people that I've worked with privately. Those for different reasons. So like Stacy is like, here's the roadmap, go take action. Shanda was very less roadmap, which I kind of needed, but it was very much like leadership, lead your people, which I also needed in that moment and has really served me to this day. So both for different reasons.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Bethany, I'm hosting a summit December 6th. I saw another summit. The host has a quiz at the end. It seems you get a free 30-minute call with her. I'm afraid this is giving away too much time since I don't have a mid-level offer them to purchase. However, I can still offer one-on-one coaching with more sessions and an ebook. Is this too much to give away of my time? Bethany, you can give away a free 30-minute call. I'm okay with that, but I want, if those calls, the goal should be market research and then see if you could upsell them into a higher ticket offer. In the beginning, you do typically have more time because you don't have as many people that you're working with. So like creating killer content was our mini course. I offered a free 30-minute call with anyone that purchased that in the beginning until it became so overwhelming. I was like, I can't do it. Calls. But it was great because I was able to actually sell private coaching from those free 30-minute calls and then actually get to know a lot of my people. So it was great market research. So I would say do it for as long as you can. And then eventually you can hire somebody to kind of duplicate you to do those calls for you.
Okay. I just didn't know if 30 minutes was too long. I was just like, wow,
it's a huge value add.
Sure.
And it gives you enough time where you could really figure out, can I help someone if I give them like something else next?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can Michelle do a soft launch now and then a full launch in January? Sure. Brianna, is it right to make pins about a specific item with a link to buy? What about Black Friday specials or sales? I don't like sales like links directly to buy. Like you can test it. I'm a fan of testing anything and everything to see what works and what doesn't work. So you can definitely test it. However, what I found is Tony Robbins, I was at his business mastery event. He said it takes on average 17 touches for somebody to see your stuff to become a paying client. So if you're sending them directly to the offer, usually you're going to miss out on actually turning them into a paying client. If instead you follow the Pin with Purpose pipeline and you send them to your content and then they get on your email list, then you can send them to the offer. That to me works a lot better usually. Can you make pins to invite people to join you in 10 class or a challenge you can hold in? You can test it and see what happens. I'd say go for it. And then you'll be able to decide, does this work? Is this worth my time?
All right, I do have a question because I've noticed that a lot of people are doing more coaching, and this is what I talked to Tara about.
Yep.
I physically have to make a product that I design. As you can see, there's a quilt hanging behind me on the wall back there. So I sell PDF downloads. I'm getting into the market of selling products just because I love fabric, because I'm a quilter. So I want to touch all those pretty fabrics. And I want to have them in my sewing room. So my thing is, yes, I know how to do affiliate links. I know how to write blogs, email newsletters, that kind of thing. But how do I take it from designing all the time to making it to where I'm driving people to my website, so I'm making money while I'm sleeping? It's just the craft industry versus coaching, I feel, are two different entities, if you will, but I got to be able to figure out how to way to make it so that it's similar.
Yeah. So I gave the example of Grace of how she does crafting of furniture refinishing, right? So it's like her version of crafting on a bigger scale. So she's teaching people how they can do furniture refinishing and actually like take their hobby and make it profitable.
I have a cat here trying to get him out of the way.
I love it. Yeah. So could you think about Grace's model of how she went from her physically doing it all the time to her being like, okay, I can teach other people how I've done this. And that way I don't have to physically do it anymore.
Right. I do enjoy doing it. I don't ever want to stop doing that.
You can still do it. However, your time is limited. And so you can trade time for money. If you can pump out as many of these designs as you can, you're going to max out where you're like, I can't physically do anymore. So then you have to look at leverage. How can you leverage your time? That doesn't mean you have to stop doing it altogether. If you love it, keep doing it. But you have to look at how can I leverage my time so I can grow my income?
Right. Because I already have videos with a publishing company, and I have a lot, but they own all those videos. Now I know how to do it.
Yep. So now it's time for you to do it on your own where you own everything.
So that's my thought process of
Mhm.
let's take our old patterns, give them new life, so
Yep.
to speak, with newer fabrics, just make a block, not entire quilt.
Yep.
And then launch these videos. And that's why I asked about the platforms, where to, what would be the best one. And so think if it offers you, is it 5 courses that are free or something like that?
No idea.
No,
No
I'd
idea.
have to go look it back up, but
Yeah,
yeah.
one of our Activate students, she's a knitter. And so we niched her down. She's like, I forget what it's called, like the knitting digital nomad or something like that. Cause
That's
her thing is
cute.
like the knitting nomad. I don't know. Cause she is all over the place, right? So they like lived in a van, they were in like Antarctica and like all this cool stuff.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's knitting her entire journey along the way. And so
Mhm.
she's creating courses and programs teaching people how she's doing this.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So it's just a
That's
matter of
cool.
like, this is what I see all the time, Nancy, is I have this idea in my head and it only can be this way, of allow yourself to get a little bit coaching, and then we can help you see, hey, what if we did it this way instead, or in addition to,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I was just invited to teach on a cruise, like a cruise ship. I
How
got
fun
that
is that?
today. Yeah, and they pay for the vacation. I only have to teach 3 days out of the cruise. And I'm like, okay,
That's
I'm going
pretty
on a cruise.
amazing. So
I'm
then,
on a cruise. So,
yeah, so you can start teaching other people how you actually got a
oh
free
yeah,
cruise through knitting and what that
right.
looks like.
Well, quilting, but yeah.
Quilting. I'm not a crafter, so I'm
Yeah, so that's okay. I mean, I already do teach in person, but I also know I need to teach Zoom and have these online classes.
Yep.
Because I think that's more important. But I was also telling Tara on YouTube that you can find so many tutorials free on how to do this technique and this technique. And I'm like, okay, I want to get into that, but I want people to pay me for it.
So you can find anything on YouTube that you
Yes.
search for, anything.
Mhm. Yep.
However, people will pay money to learn from the expert on how to do it sequentially.
Okay.
Example, there is a woman, Carrie Hess. She has these adorable children's books. Oh my gosh, I have them in my daughter's room, where it's like Clarice the mouse. She is in Paris and she's wearing like Chanel and like all this awesome stuff. It is the cutest thing ever. She created an art class where she's teaching you how to do fashion art. It's
Ooh.
$1,000 course. I
Ooh.
could have probably YouTubed how to do fashion art, but I'm
Mhm.
like, I love Carrie's books. These are so cool. I want to learn how to do art from Carrie, not just from some person on YouTube. And I want to learn how to do it the right way with her
Yeah.
exact technique.
So it's about building followers and they build the trust,
Building that
build the
relationship and nurturing them.
Okay.
That's everything that we teach with an Activate, of how do you build that relationship, nurture those people. And that way it's not like, hey, buy my thing. It's no, I have this thing. Let me help you and we can do it together.
Yeah.
It turns from selling to serving.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Other questions? These are great stuff. I love it. Other questions? If you use and share other people's pins too, what's the right or best ratio to do that in relation to your own pins? On average, how much does it take or is needed to have run and have a successful Pinterest? So ideally you're sharing the majority of your content on Pinterest, right? But if you're joining like a Tailwind community, based off of the rules for that community, you're going to be sharing other people's content too, which is fine. I would just try to share the majority of your content, and then based off of the rules of Tailwind community, share their content too. How much is needed? How many pins per day? Every account is different. So it's so hard to give like a hard and fast rule of you must pin 5 times a day. I would say if you can schedule pins out where you are getting around 5 a day, that would be a great place to start. And then just keep an eye on your account and say like, hey, if I schedule out 10, does it perform a little bit better? Just kind of test some stuff out, and don't think you have to be sitting there manually pinning 10 pins a day, because that sounds like torture to me. Always schedule it with Tailwind and see how could you make it just easy and fun. And just test it. Test. Marketing is about testing. How much time do you have to spend on Pinterest to make it successful? I mean, it's like asking how much time do you need to spend in your business to make it successful? You could be spending 80 hours a week creating graphics in Canva and doing jack diddly squat. and not be successful. Or you can spend 5 to 10 hours of really focused laser time in your business and have a multiple six-figure $1 million business with that laser focused intentional time. So honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, you could spend 30 minutes a month on Pinterest and see success. It's just a matter of how are you spending that time, and are you being really focused and intentional with it? If you're moving from a product-based business to a teaching platform, how do you find the niche and the teaching space? So Michelle, I would be thinking about, could you host a summit or a collaborative event with your ideal clients in that are other speakers? Like, your ideal clients have the speakers have your ideal clients in their audience. That's a great place to start. That's one of the first things we do with our Activate students to kind of help them launch right away. What's the best way to spend time working on your Pinterest? Yeah, I would look at doing keyword research of figuring out like the top keywords that you want to be doing, creating content, and then testing images to see what's really working well. I'm a virtual assistant. I want to transition more into a back end or passive role. I would like to move to offering services as a Pinterest assistant and continue to work on my blog and Pinterest on the side too. Okay, what's your question? How much time did you spend and did it take you in the beginning with your Pinterest? I wish I could remember of how, honestly, I don't remember how much initially time I spent there. In the beginning, like, a lot of you are Pin with Purpose students, so you have the roadmap, so it shouldn't take you as long as it took me, because I was just like throwing spaghetti against the wall and trying out all different kinds of stuff to see what would work and what would land. So I don't think you're gonna need to spend as much time as I did, but I feel like it wasn't that much. I don't remember. Yeah, how much time it took. I'll tell you, it's always quicker when you have a roadmap from a mentor to follow. Always, because they're going to help you fast track. So I told you about my first coach, Stacy Tushel. She gave me the roadmap. If I didn't hire her, yes, it was a big investment and it was scary. Like, that was so much money for us at the time. It was like $24,000 for a year. What I wasn't making that much. That was a lot. She helped me make $430,000 our first year in business though. So was that a good return on investment? Yeah, because otherwise I would have been just course hopping, trying to figure it out on my own, and then wondering, why is this so hard? Why isn't this working? So it's like, you can continue to try to do stuff on your own, or you can say, I need help. I need to fast track it. Yes, it's a little scary to make that investment, but also you're going to go 100 times faster when you have that help. How much can you charge as a Pinterest assistant? Like, are you talking about doing like done for you Pinterest, like management?
I was just referring to her question. I'm still not good at Pinterest. I purchased your course along with so many other courses, and I have yet to, well, I'm in the process of really narrowing down my niche right now.
Mhm.
But in addition to Jesse's question, how much could she charge?
I mean, depends on who you're targeting as your client and what you're offering. So like for Pinterest management, we charge anywhere from $397 to $997 a month for us to manage their accounts. If it's not a part of our business that we're like actively growing, because I just get people asking me all the time, can we just do it for them? But I haven't really put like a huge focus on, we're going to grow this. But if we, I mean, because we were managing Shanda's account at one point, if we offered like additional services or stuff, I bet we could have charged an easy like $3,000 a month. It's kind of like Facebook ads management. It depends on who it is that you're working with and what you're offering, if you're going to do ads on top of it and that kind of thing. So like, I'm paying $3,000 a month right now for someone to manage our ads. I know people that are paying $10,000 a month to get their ads managed. So it just kind of depends who's the client that you're serving, what are you providing them, what are they looking for. Following the roadmap requires how much time of your students? I like to think in terms of efficiency. And so I'm always trying to think, how could we make things more efficient for our people? So, I mean, I gave the example of Katie that has the bookkeeping business. She works 10 hours a week. Tammy, she works, she does like grief counseling with her her audience. And she homeschools too. She's a widow, a single mom. She homeschools 2 kids. So we're like, could you just wake up an hour earlier, get your power hour in before life and work and, you know, like kids and all that stuff happens. So realistically, could you do a power hour, maybe 2 per day? Yeah. Like, I think you can be really effective in that amount of time and get a lot, move the needle in that amount of time, as long as you're focused on the money-making activities, for sure. How do these people divide their time when working those hours? Marketing, managing, serving clients. Yeah. So Eileen, what I teach our students to do, create before you consume. Create content before you consume content. So if all you do for the next couple weeks is create before you open email, before you open Facebook, you're going to be in a completely different spot. And then really focused on the money-making activities. And so look at like, where are you spending time where it doesn't really matter, right? So you got to make sure that's looked at too. And then for my students that maybe they're doing done for you service in addition to other stuff in their business, I say work on your creative stuff for your business, or like content creation or promotional materials before you work on client work, or have it divided up where you're not constantly switching tasks just to make yourself more productive. What are the money-making activities you should focus on? Perfect question. So every day, how can you build your email list? And how could you make an offer? Those are like the 2 core things every day. How can you build your email list? How could you make an offer? Everything else is like usually just busy work. And usually what I see is people are hiding in the busy work because there's like a fear around putting themselves out there in the actual activity. So always, every day, build your email list, make an offer. Every day. Other questions? How can I build my email list? How can I make an offer? Awesome. Other questions? These are great ones. You're welcome, Brianna. Website question: to build an email list, is it best to have a WordPress site? Yeah, if you can. WordPress.org. If you can, that would be ideal. Let's see. Nancy, is your hand raised again?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All right. So concerning the WordPress site,
Yep.
I do not have a WordPress site, and I've heard about, but I do have an e-commerce site. So I
Okay.
get orders. Because I can't do certain things that a WordPress site does. Like when someone visits your website, you can capture their email, right? That's the benefits of a WordPress site. So what's the difference, or maybe that's not the right question. What are lead pages?
Yeah, so lead pages would be an opt-in form where you can capture someone's name and email, and you can integrate it with WordPress. So usually our students are going to use lead pages or ClickFunnels. Both are great. I would say if I had to choose between the 2, I would choose ClickFunnels to start with. It's a little bit more expensive than lead pages, but with ClickFunnels, you can build sales pages and you could do upsells, downsells. So ultimately, with ClickFunnels, you can make it way more profitable and get your money back, more so than with lead pages. So that's like the ultimate difference between the 2. I would use ClickFunnels, integrate it with WordPress. However, ClickFunnels 2.0, apparently they have a website builder within it. I've never used it. It's brand new, so I can't give feedback on it yet, but that is something that they have.
So is it worth the money? Because I just have an e-commerce site. I do have the option to switch over to a WordPress site. It's going to cost the same amount as my annual renewal fee, which
I would.
So it's worth it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was wondering about if that's worth the money, because I'm finding that WordPress sites offer
a lot more.
Yeah, they really
a
do.
lot more.
Yeah. Okay.
I would.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Okay, Jesse, should you wait until you can afford a coach? Should you do what you can on your own to begin with, and then as soon as you can invest in a coach, get the export help? It's kind of like the chicken or the egg, right? So it's like, if you keep waiting to be able to afford to hire the coach, it never happens because you're going to be lost and kind of scrambling on your own, trying to figure out how you can make the money to hire a coach. So it's like, I would just hire the coach right away to get the direction to be able to grow faster, instead of what typically happens. Like Dawn, one of my students, she spent tens of thousands of dollars on courses thinking this was going to help her, this was going to help her, this was going to help her. And she ended up making like nothing going through all the courses. We started working together. Within 3 months, she had an $11,000 month. She did 6 figures within her first year. She retired from her job, retired her husband, moved into a new house. So it's like she paid me more than I think what she was making at her full-time job. So she couldn't afford me, right? But she also knew what she was doing wasn't working and she wanted to grow quickly. So it's like you figure it out to hire the coach, even if you feel like you're not ready, you can't afford it, yada, yada. I would always start anything I want to learn now. I'm like, who has done this before me that I can just learn from them quickly? So it's like when I was asked to speak on stage at Marketing Impact Academy, I've never sold from stage before. So I'm like, okay, I could, go through a course on how to sell from stage, or I could just hire Colin Boyd and have him look at my presentation and pay him for his time so he could help me with this. So that's what I did, right? So it's just a matter of, do you want to do it the slow, painful way, or do you want to fast track? Make sense? I don't like slow and painful. It sucks. I'm always about fast track. Tony Robbins says you can compress decades into days when you have the right strategy. So it's like, why spend a decade trying to figure it out on your own when you could have it in a couple of days? Cool. Well, if you need support, definitely go to helpmecoachnow.com, book a call with our team so we see how we can support you in going to that next level. Take massive action. Take massive action. Don't just sit back and wait for things to happen. Go for it. Fail forward. Pursue that failure and you'll grow so much faster. Thank you for being here with me. I had a lot of fun and I hope you did too. And have a great rest of your day. Bye.